Hey guys, I'm bringing you my very first deck guide for the new set 4, and it's a return to an old favourite. It's Wardhaven. Wardhaven got a few pretty cool additions this season, and of course Haven also got the nerf, right, to the man named Benison, so kind of puts you off playing Crest a little bit. I don't know how good Crest is still. It may well still be very, very good. I expect it is still fairly strong, slightly weakened. However, this deck is a lot of fun, and it uses some of the new cards. So let's jump into the deck first, and then we'll show you it obviously in practice with a few games. So this is a list that I've been running, and it's kind of similar to what I think a lot of good players are kind of trialing at the minute. There's obviously one or two cards that you can swap around, and we'll talk about those as we go. But we do run the Serene Sanctuaries as the standard good old card draw. We've got a couple of copies of Knight of the Holy Order. Now, that and the Pact to the Beast Prince are the only two drops that we've got. So against aggro matches, we do want to be looking quite heavily for these, obviously, to stem the tempo, probably along with the Grimnir as well. Now, Grimnir is fantastic because it's a permanent ward, and even though this is it's a permanent crest, and even though this is a ward deck, it's actually got a fair decent bit of crest built into it. So we'll often have, like, potentially 4 crests up, I would say on average. And yeah, so Grimnir is really good in the early game, and of course also when we Super Evo, we want to be getting that AoE. We got, for the Supplicant of the Rose, I mean, no surprise, guys, this is an Aether deck, right? Remember that Aether pulls 3 random different followers that cost 3 or less. So it's interesting to think about that when you're looking at the early units. That means it could pull Knight of the Order, it could pull the Grimnir, it could also pull the Supplicant of Repose, and the big new addition that it could pull is the Galleon. And this is Earth Personified. This is the brand new ward unit, and it is the legendary card in Haven. It's fantastic, guys. This card's brilliant. It can't attack, right? It can't attack, but it is a ward with a 5/5 for 3. Now, bearing in mind that at the end of your turn, if you've unlocked Super Evolution, it evolves a random unevolved allied follower, and that can be itself. So you're basically getting 3 Evos, and that's going to be a trigger for Sandalphon, right? And of course, we play Wilbert. So when you look at the stats of any of these, it's actually going to be, hopefully, I should be getting the buff from Wilbert's Crest, which is +1 attack, +2 health. That makes Galleon a ridiculous 6/7. For 3, which is just utterly insane. Or if it's obviously coming down from Aether, and even if Aether Super Evos, then it gets another +2. So these things just become, even like your 3 drops, they just become ginormous ward units. It's one of the best kind of body decks there is. Now, I did say there was a little bit of Crest synergy, so we do still run the 3 Marwins, and these are important because actually the Torrent of Despair that she gives you is phenomenal, right? It does say banish an enemy follower. It can actually, it's one of the only ways of dealing with what's the Rune top end pink card that just keeps coming back? So sorry, that card is absolutely strong right now, and Marwyn is very good at that. Obviously, she's great in the mirror because she can deal with a Wilbert as well for free, or any of these big wards. So Marwyn is just good as just a good card, even regardless of the crest. But she does still give you access to the crest synergy, as does the Congruent of Repose, which acts as a bit of a draw engine if you put an Evo or Super Evo point into that. You've got the standard AoE and the Blinding Faith in case you come against Sword and these kind of wide boards. I'll come to Sandalphon in a minute. We've got a single Unholy Vessel. Partly what I like with Unholy Vessel is it's a nice setup for Sandalphon. Like when the Sandalphon turn is there and you can do 10 damage, you can just use Vessel to clear the board if you've set it up. And the other thing as well is sometimes you just got really big units that are like you've got loads of big wards. The opponent clears most of them except for 1. They put a big board down. You Super Evo that 1 and you just Unholy Vessel and you clear their board and smack them in the face to win the game. You've also got Jean. Jean is one of my favourite Haven cards, one of my favourite cards in the game, and she's so good in this deck. She's tailor-made for this deck because you've constantly got a wave of bodies to benefit from Jean buffing, and so it actually gives you a lot of threat and a lot of reach, right? Because if they leave 3 units down, the threat of Jean coming on can just be absolutely ridiculous. For those who don't know, she gives +2 attack to every unit on the board and +4, and it's all for a fanfare. It doesn't even cost you an Evo point, just ridiculous. And then what we've thrown in at the end is a couple of the new Vera Luminous Primal Knights. And I think with Vera, like, one of the ways that I like to think about it is, we drain their removal spells. They can't take out Wilbur and the Aether board and the Vera and the... We've even got a single Sarah in here, right? This is quite a cheap way for 6 of getting a She gives +10, which should give me 15. But obviously, Wilbert's crest would make that 17. You know, so this is, we're talking about a ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, like a 517 for 6. It's almost like another Wilbert, essentially, right? So, just tons and tons of bodies. And personally, I've found like decks like Egg Portal and stuff. Sorry, Egg Portal. Egg Control actually are tricky to deal with. But in terms of anything trying to match this on the board, there's very few things that can. And it's super, super powerful, guys. So definitely give it a shot. There's the QR code. Let's dive into a couple of games to show you how this works in practice. All right, so we have got Rune. We're going to get rid of everything and just keep the Sanctuary. And I'm really liking this draw, actually. We are going first, so Marwyn obviously doesn't get to go off on 4. That's a consideration. We're just going to drop the Pact of the Beast. The answer with Penelope, getting the Dirt Rune going. So I imagine it is a Dirt Rune deck and not a Spell Boost when I see Penelope. She's sometimes played in Spell Boost, but it's less often now. So because we couldn't get the Marwyn down on curve here we just go with the Pact of the Beast and the Knightly Order instead. And put a bit of damage on face. Now this card here, this Morelli, is just so broken. I think this card is super busted, guys. Really is a phenomenal card. So down comes the Congregant of Repose. Edelweiss will deal with that nicely, although he does use up his dirt, so he brings down the Witch Brew to rebuild that. It's obviously always a challenge when you're playing Dirt Rune, is sort of managing that resource. Sometimes you have loads of it and you're almost underusing it, and then other times you just got a handful of stuff that wants to eat it. You just don't have enough of it. So Morelli again, I just think this card is like super OP. It's such a powerful addition to Rune. So we're going to play it Wilbert down now. This Alchemic Flare is really good as well. This sort of 2-drop doing 4 damage is always pretty good value, and then obviously you've got the additional benefits. There was an option to play like a Jean there, but it always feels like a waste when obviously it's such a good board wipe. You can create some pretty wide boards with this deck as well, so a bit more of a setup turn. And this is quite a good thing to do as well, is find those turns where you can kind of still build. It almost looks like an Aether board, right? So, but we've actually got 3 Aethers locked and loaded in hand. So if he has to kind of blow all his kind of removal resources on it, then we can Aether afterwards. But actually, we do take the Jean this time, just because like he's only on 13 health, right? And you've just got to be constantly calculating, because as I say, that Jean burst it really can catch people out. So yeah, GG. Alrighty. Haven Mirror. Okay, so we are going first. Always sucks when you've got Marwyn in hand and you're going first, because you're a bit like, well, I'm just not going to throw her out on tempo, am I? Okay. True mirror match going on here, guys. 2-drop for 2-drop. Let's go. We have nothing to play on 3, and sadly he's got Grimnir. I think with this deck, you always feel so happy when you see that. Now, this is not a bad second place, to be honest, because we can play and trigger a thing, meaning that it'll go off next turn for no extra player points. So we do take 2 damage here, but obviously This is going to really help clear. And now it's turn 5, so we can actually play our Marwyn, and we can just Evo her and attack into the 4/6. So we should be able to clear the board relatively nice here. Galleon! Galleon comes down and Evos for 7. This does actually make quite a big deal, because even with an Evo'd Wilbert, now we can't actually take this out, which is a little bit annoying, because we would have had the clear then for the thing. For the 4/2 to hit face, sorry, and put him on to 10. So I wonder if he calculated that we'd play Wilbert, and it was if so, that was a good Evo on his part. Okay, so his Wilbert comes down, but obviously we've got Torrent. But the thing is if we play Torrent here, we've got absolutely nothing else to do this turn. And I just thought, you know what? I don't think that's a good use of the turn. So instead, we've just said, you know what? We'll save the Torrent for a future one, and we'll actually play the Aether out, thin the deck, build the board. Not too worried about him still having the 2 4s up here. He's already down to 14. Now he can obviously he can actually instant kill that, because it's the one thing that doesn't get the aura. Remember, it casts aura on everything else, not itself. But obviously we're going to go with Jean again, and this is what we were saying earlier about why Jean's such an MVP for me, because you know she's just going to get so many opportunities to not only clear the opponent board, but obviously buff mega boards on your side. Now he plays Aether here, and this is one of those turns, because we got him down to 5, we literally just want one thing to survive. And when you look at the size of our board, like, it's a real problem for Haven when you've gone first with your Aether, if you've got the Unholy in hand, right? Because you can just super Evo the unit, Unholy down, and obviously you can't be destroyed if you super Evo'd, so it's the one thing that survives, and we hit face for victory. GG. Oh boy, we got a Havencraft mirror. Here we go. Don't want you. We do want you. We don't want you. I think that's all right, actually. Ugh. Not a good hand. Not a good hand, boys and girls. Not one I would have picked. That's a nice pickup. Kind of want to find Grimnir early on. Yeah, he's got the Grimnir. I find those permas, right? So I think we'll spend 1 here, so we can trade there, and then stick a wee taunt down. The ward, as we call it, Shadowverse, Worlds Beyond. This ain't Hearthstone, BJ. This card is so good. Card is so good. Okay, there's Grimnir. But let's get this down as we're going second. It's a nice one to play on turn 2, right? Sorry, turn 4. Curve. And then we might as well go face because we get more damage. Do we want to get Serene out here? No. Big lad. Down comes the big lad. Except for he's not that big yet. So, I think we've got colour options. I think what we're going to do is get out the Wilbert, since we've got 2 of them in hand. And just Evo and get the Perma Crest down. So we just need to get Grimnir down, and then we've got all the Permacrest down, so that's pretty good. Huh. Interesting that he plays this like this. Obviously, maybe this is looking like a Torrent and Grimnir turn then. Sure. So it makes sense to attack here, get more damage. Nice that we got the 3 thingies down. 3 permacrests. Okay, here we go. I think this is going to be a Gene turn, right? So then, what do we want to Super Evo? Well, we want to Super Evo this, right? Because the other 2 can attack. So, if we Super Evo that into this... and then one of these hits this. And then we just pass. Because we've got the Grimnir. Probably want to get Galleon down, start working towards this super Skybound out. Be 11 next turn. Be 12, 13 the turn after. 14. We can actually trigger this next turn as well if we need. Okay, we've got a good answer for this, I think. Oh, I love the little glowy bubble around it. Okay. So we definitely... Does this work on it? It does, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, I think that and that is good. Now, do we want to use the last Super Evo? I think we do, actually. Because it's working towards this guy, and we are low on cards, but we're going to get a load of cards now. This Evo's up, so we're up to 13. We're close, guys. We are close. Getting close. Ah. Okay. So we're at 14, right? I think this probably makes sense to just... I was going to say even blinding, right? But we put him down to 4. Do we want to put him down to 4? Or is 7 okay? Is 6 okay? We got this next turn anyway, right? I think we're going to do this. Sandy Bum is online. Okay, this feels like a Gene. Kaboom! We got him. GG. So that's it, guys. Let me know in the comments, what do you think to this deck? I don't know where it's going to land in the meta, but I think it's going to be pretty high. It may not be tier 1. There are a few things that I think can prey on this quite well, but it's super good. Remember, it's always been good against like Combo Roach. So it could be a really interesting tournament meta this season, actually, because if Combo Roach is going to be kind of almost like hard locked out of it, what does that mean in terms of what the prayer units look like on the prayer units and stuff? So I think this is pretty cool. If you want to enjoy some of the new cards, this is great. Didn't actually get to show you much Sandalphon in the game, sadly, but I have had some games where this card has come down and done its thing. So, you know, I think overall this is pretty good. You can change the Seraph if you don't have that card. You can put in a third Vera if you want. Some people are dropping the Unholy, but for me, it's like it's just such a clutch card, as you saw in that last game, that I kind of like still having. I understand cutting a few of them because this is a body deck, right? You want bodies on the board. You want to be developing, but I still think there's a niche use for it when you've got things like Sandalphon and you've got things like the ability to get a unit to stick and Super Evo, like we just showed. So I do think having ones in is good, but you can obviously cut that. And the other one as well is some people like to run 3 copies a night of the Holy Order, just because the early game is so, you know, we've got so few early game cards there, right? So that would be a sensible thing too. So yeah, let me know how you get on, guys. Thanks for all the support. Hit that thumbs up, like and subscribe to the channel, and tell everyone you know, and we'll see you in the next one.